Hey, hello, you're live now. So, hey, hello, everyone. So good to see you. So good to be here with you one more time, right? We are here for the fourth live this week, right? So we are the whole week at this time, we're discussing the future of technology, the future of software development, your future, my future, our future, right? This is in preparation for the Developers Conference Future that's going to happen next week. It's going to be 3 days. Actually, it's going to be 4 days, right? Because it starts Monday night, right? At least night in Brazil. And we're going to have an awesome pre-show that's going to be on Monday. And so I welcome all of you to participate on Monday night. And then we're going to have 3 days of a lot of content discussing the future, discussing how we can do things together. And it's awesome because TDC Future is going to have 8 tracks in English, right? So if you're watching this right now, you can join. The basic pass is completely free. And so this week we're doing, daily conversations about the future with amazing speakers and coordinators of TDC Future, right? So awesome people that, people that inspire me, people that I look up for, people that teach me what I know, right? So I'm very, very happy to share those contacts and those amazing people with you. So without further ado, so I'm going to ask you to say hello in the chat if you're watching us, if you can see us. We're transmitting in a lot of different platforms, right? And so let me just start by I'm going to introduce our guest in 1 minute here, but let me just start by thanking everyone that's broadcasting this. So thank you Eyal for broadcasting this in Eyal's channels, right? So if you're watching on Eyal's channel, thanks a lot, Eyal. Thanks for Mary for broadcasting her channels, right? So if you're watching this on Mary's channel, thanks very much, Mary. Also, thanks Felipe Oliveira, right? If you're watching this on Felipe Oliveira's channel, thanks a lot, Felipe. And then thanks about Gabriel from Java Journey, right? He's also broadcasting this in his channels, right? Thanks, Manny Sakar, right? He's broadcasting this on his channel, and he's here with us today, right? So I'll talk with Manny in a minute. And so who else? Oh, So Java, the Java User Society, right? Thank you, So Java, for being here with us in this initiative, right? We're broadcasting all of So Java's channel. And last but not least, thank you, TDC, for we're all broadcasting on TDC site. Thanks for TDC for organizing this awesome event. And of course, if you're watching me on my community and my channels, thanks very much for being part of this. So say hello in the chat. Make sure that we can have a conversation here. Make sure that we can make the best out of this. We want to answer your questions, right? Okay, so without further ado, let me bring one of our guests here. So she is a coordinator of the Cloud and DevOps track on TDC, right? So she's a specialist in Cloud and DevOps, and she's also a mathematician, a software developer, and as she said, she loves food, right? She's a foodie, right? So let me bring you here, Lilian. Okay, I missed that. Oh man, Lilian Cavalet. Sorry about that, Lilian. Lilian
Okay.
Cavalet is here with us. Thanks a lot, Lilian.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
So Lilian, how is going to be the DevOps track next week? In Cloud and DevOps? Are you guys excited about it?
Yeah, we are excited a lot. I think it would be good because we structured the track to be from beginners to most specialists. So I think you can start learning the basics and then evolve with the track. So I think it would be good with this.
Awesome. That's awesome. Let's talk more about this, right? Because we can't talk about the future of software development without talking about cloud, right? Cloud is kind of
Yeah,
meshed with
it's the
anything we're going to do
future.
in the future, right? Yeah. All right. Awesome. Okay. So he has been a guest here on this conversation from the very beginning because he opened this conversation on Monday when he talked about the future of Java, and he is the coordinator of the London Java community, and he's also coordinating the artificial intelligence track on TDC. So let's bring here Mani Sarkar. Hey Mani, how are you doing, man?
Hey, good. I'm doing great. How are you? Nice to be with you again here. This is my fifth day probably, but I skipped one day in the week earlier. So
Right.
yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for putting the time together and organizing this. An hour of your time every day is it means a lot, and you're also bringing very good quality content to everybody. So I'm
Thank
really
you.
happy about this.
You
Yeah.
guys are bringing the content, not me. So that's awesome. And money, I'm very happy that you're here for several of those lives, right? Because especially because we can't talk about the future of software development if we don't talk about artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, artificial intelligence has been the future for all this while, and hence it is now in the present. And,
Yes,
it's not just the future, it's in the present as well. So,
that's
we
awesome.
can discount that. And yeah, with that, I will do a little bit of a plug. So I'm going to share the link to the track on TDC. I've just
Hmm.
shared it with you. If you don't
Cool.
mind sharing it with the guests, because we've got a whole number of talks. And this time, most of the speakers are from Brazil, which is great because the last time we had a mix of speakers, less from Brazil and more from the international track. But this time, most of the speakers or all of the speakers are from Brazil, and we have um, a roundtable. Well, we don't call it a roundtable, but more like a panel
I know, right? Yeah.
session. And it's a mixed group, and that'll be interesting as well. So I invite everyone to come and join us, and of course you're going to be there, Bruno, to help us kick off that track as well. So yeah, I'm looking towards the exciting week that is to come next week. Of course, starting off with TDC Future itself, and then each of the tracks.
Okay. All right. So I just got I'm gonna ask you to just kind of say something right now because I just got a message here on my side that my page is frozen, and so I know you can hear me, but everything else is frozen here. So I'm gonna reload the page, and I'll be right back in 30 seconds. Right. So let me start by asking one question here. So you can start asking this. So let me I'm just gonna remove my camera here from this so I can reload the page. So Lillian, can you talk a little bit about, talk about in terms of future development? Can you talk a little bit about how cloud can really help us think about the future?
Yeah, sure. Uh, I think cloud is actually already on our daily basis is present, but I think we will be evolving for a cloud that would have more tools for us to rely on. For example, nowadays here in Brazil, we have open banking, and then we will be having open insurance and open finance. So I think that cloud now will not be just a tool for us to deploy things there and rely on this new infrastructure, but there will be other things that we could use there to be more productive. So I think that in the future, the cloud will be more like uh, would have more software development within the cloud than only we developing software and then deploying to the cloud. So I think that we will have this merge of software developing and the cloud.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Manny, just to kick start the questions here. So same question for you, right? So you're thinking about artificial intelligence. Do you think artificial intelligence will have a, some kind of impact on software development itself?
So absolutely, because when just yesterday I was thinking about I'm going to be talking to Bruno today, and what am I going to say with future and software development? And like I was thinking, AI is actually helping boost software development even further because if GitHub has launched this project called Copilot. I'm going to share that link with you. And Lillian is already waving her head, so she knows about it. Bruno, you will know about it the moment you click on it. I
Right.
mean, the idea behind Copilot is you have an AI assistant who's helping you write code. So, and IntelliJ already does a lot of that, but Copilot is going to take it of many more steps ahead of that. I mean, IntelliJ is already very smart, right? It knows a lot of the code, it knows a lot of the language you're writing, it knows a lot of the syntax, it knows a lot of the underlying concepts, it knows, and it helps you so much, and it indicates that already. But it's not there yet. It's only what IntelliJ is doing is great up till now, but what Copilot and solutions like Copilot will be doing is going to be the next level. It's going to be you type in a few things and it'll already know what you want to develop, right? So which is exactly where we want to head, right? So all the redundant boilerplate repeated stuff we already do, we don't want to be typing that all over again, right? And if at all we can generate tests for them automatically, that's even great, right? So we can then focus more on very specific things that the computer cannot envision because it's domain specific. It needs expertise, it needs years of experience, it needs lots of specific knowledge that is too expensive to give to the computer to come out with an answer for. Whereas we use the computer as an assistant, so it's AI augmented or AI assisted programming, which where we are putting off a load of the things that the AI or the computer is good at, remembering, merging huge chunks of data and parsing through whole chunks of data, which our minds are not capable of doing, right? We can't handle petabytes and multiple petabytes of data just like the computer can do in the split second that it does it in. But at the same time, it can do very creative things that we can do. So now we're actually splitting the workload between the computer and ourselves, and the creative part stays with us, and all the number crunching and the scaling and the load and heavy stuff goes to the computer. So
Awesome.
Copilot is one such project, and in fact there are many more. I have actually listed a number of those. If you there's another link I will share. It's called ML on Code. That's machine learning on code. There's a whole lot of companies that have invested their time and money in. I'm going to re-share that link because it's a shorter link I will share. The newer link as I shared is a better one. So ML on Code is actually doing is machine learning and analyzing the code you've written. And just like you create a pull request and your developers will give you feedback, your fellow developers or developers in the open source community will give you feedback on, hey, Bruno, you missed out this whole thing that we want to develop. Oh, your lines don't make sense, or there are semicolons missing. I mean, all those things are great, but a computer would do that a lot more consistently. There wouldn't be any bias. Every developer will review your code differently, right? Depending on their expertise. But if you have a central code review machine that will review every piece of code exactly the same way consistently, and it'll learn from every piece of code it has analyzed and become smarter, right? Just like a human being would, but a lot more quantitatively smarter as opposed to a human being, because a human being could have a bad day and that intelligence is now taking two steps down. And so that's also where things are going to be developing in terms of software development, right? So you write a piece of code and the computer will analyze it and tell you exactly what are the good things about it, what are not good things about it, where you can make the improvements, and it do it in a very constructive, productive way. And it'll do it consistently with everybody, and the computer doesn't get tired, right? You add more CPU and RAM and hard drive and network bandwidth, it'll work only faster, right? You can't do that to a human being. Yeah.
Right.
If a human being has a bad day, it's a bad day, right? Cannot write good code on a bad day. So that's where we kind of are heading. So basically, human assisted AI is where we are heading, and human assisted AI in software development.
That's right. Awesome, man. That's great. So let me just kind of quickly say hello here. So Maximilian saying hello, everyone. So thanks a lot, Max. Right. So everyone, you can just kind of say hello in the chat, right? Tell us where you're from. And most important of all, ask your question, right? So Bruno is saying, amazing talk today, right? So yes, I totally agree with you, Bruno. This is an awesome topic today, right? So, I want to hear your questions. Everyone here, I want to hear your questions. What are the things that you're worried about? What are the things that you're interested about? Because we want to make, we want to ham those experts here with lots of great questions, right? So, look, every time I start hearing about this whole thing, how things are going to change in the future, the question I get a lot from developers, right, is kind of this fear of, first of all, you talk about the cloud is going to be the future lead, and there's this fear that how much of this do I need to learn, right? Do I have to learn everything? Do I have to be a cloud specialist? Is everything's going to completely change, and I have to follow up and run after all those stuff, right? And so what do you think about this, Elena? Is that are we is things going to make easier for us, or it's going to be harder for us because we have to learn even more things?
I like to say that working in IT is the worst and it is the best, because it's the worst because we have a lot of things to learn. So it's really difficult being in the cloud or just, I don't know, learning Java. It's really difficult. There is a lot of things. There are things being proposed to the market every time, so it's really difficult to keep track of things. So this is the worst thing of being on IT. And the best thing is this really quick change we have, that every day we have a new saying that something has changed and something is shifting for the other side. So I would say that you should not fear of the new or fear for the change, and you should not run for learn everything, because I know personal experience you can learn everything, but you can try. And I think that I like to advocate, and I think that I like to do with myself is, I know that something is recurrently appearing in the media or my colleagues are talking about it, so I try to understand that things. So I try to be narrowed and punctual to understand things along the way. So I would say calm down, relax, it will be everything fine. I know that it's a lot of things to learn, but I don't know if there is anybody that knows everything. So
No,
I
there's
would say
not.
to go slow.
Yes,
Bruno knows
there
a
is
lot.
not. So
Bruno
let's be
knows a
very
lot.
clear. No one knows everything, and that's good. That's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? So so how about you, Manny? Do you think that we're gonna need to learn all this stuff, or actually, I have a different question for you, Manny, because when we talk about artificial intelligence, there is like this fear, right? That that in the future of software development is going to be no software development because AI is just going to develop software for us, right?
Yeah.
And so, is that true? Is that when you see when people see like co-pilots, I see that a lot of developers, for example, they make fun of Copilot, right? Because Copilot is just gonna, yeah, it's just does wrong things and does and just kind of do what I wanted to do anyway, right? So it's like, what do you think? Should we be afraid of all that?
So there's a multiple angles of answer to this. So the question you raised, my dad raised this question many years ago, a few decades ago, right? He used to come home from work and say, "Hey, computers are going to take away all our jobs, and that's going to be the end of it." And this was not just him; it was a lot of people in his time. But look at what has happened since 1980. I mean, it speaks of my age, but if you were there around that time and you see now, there have been more computers than there are, probably as many people on the planet, I think, or maybe half as many computers as many people on the planet. But has that reduced the number of jobs? No. In the IT sector, there's a massive gap in the demand and supply, right? There are more, and every company, every startup, and everybody is going out and creating a startup. And when they create a startup, they then want to hire more people, right? So what's happened to all the advancements in technology, AI? Why are they not using all of that to supplement that need and demand of theirs? Because they
Right.
cannot. They still
I
need
think it has
people.
shifted. I think it has shifted, right? You know,
Yeah,
jobs have shifted to other areas, right? So,
exactly. But also,
look, I'm just saying this because we don't want to give it the impression that we don't have problems in some areas that don't have jobs, right? Yes. So the
yes,
computers
exactly.
do, yeah, computers do
Yeah,
remove some kind of jobs, right? But it
exactly.
creates
You
other
do.
ones in
You
other
you
places.
do. But you then create more, because look at it.
Yes.
With the creation of computers, printers were created. With the creation of printers, paper, ink, stationery, and everything related to printer, like a printer stand, like a computer table, you name it, and all kinds of things. Like, same with mobile phones, right? Then you have those selfie devices, those selfie sticks, and then you have all the covers and the stickers and waterproof glasses, and you name it. So with everything that's created, there are hundreds of value added services and products created to support that thing,
All right. Yes.
which means those things are not just growing out of the ground. You don't go and plant it and it just grows out of the ground. You need people to manufacture them, right? You need people all the way from engineers to the last person who delivers it to your door, isn't it? The courier person, or if it's a company that only uses their employees to manufacture it and package it and deliver it. So there's a lot more jobs created by just automating a whole set of complex processes, right? Because then people start consuming it even faster. And when people start consuming it even faster, demand and supply gap keeps increasing, right? And then to fill them up, there are more people who come into that space, set up companies. And this is just like an exponential cycle, isn't it? There's no end to it. So that is one angle of the story. The other angle is we are having the same repeated question again, right? This time we are not saying computers are going to take away our jobs. This time we are saying the small subset inside the world of computers, that is AI. Okay, and again, it's discussable if AI is a subset of
Oh,
around. But
yeah,
anyways,
we missed your voice for a second there.
yeah. Well, what I was saying is that the question has now shifted from computers taking away our job to AI taking away our job. And I will give you the same answer and the same perspective as I said for computers taking away a job. Because AI is going to automate all the redundant, boring, boilerplate, repeated, error-prone processes. That's why we say co-pilot, right? We're saying AI assisted. We're not saying AI driven or AI dominated or AI controlled, right?
Especially because you know there's not going to be an AI driven probably, right? You know, this is
in a long time to come there won't be. In a long time to come,
right.
even when it comes to the stage, because the human creativity is not tangible, it's not discrete. Okay, human creativity is intangible. There is no, it's not quantifiable. Okay, everything you see in the world of computers is quantifiable. Yeah, it's discrete, ones and zeros. You can't have like in theoretical mathematics, which Lillian will say, and in theoretical physics, which Stephen Hawking has written interesting books on. You could have lots of dreamy things and things that don't exist. Of course, they exist in that virtual world, but not in the tangible physical world that you can touch and feel, that you can count, that you can measure, right? So till that is braced, which is not going to happen because you cannot take material to supplement non-material and vice versa. That's a different conversation as well. But that's not going to be happening, right? We're talking about totally two different things. It's like air and water, right? They're two different elements. One cannot be the other. So that is the situation with AI trying to help us. It's not, see, there are movies and kinds of fantasy books saying AI taking over, but those are human-driven fantasies and fears, right? At the moment, Copilot can't even write a proper program that a kindergarten or a high school kid will be writing, right? High school kids are going to perform far better than Copilot is going to perform. In the near time to come, it may get automated. So now it goes back to what Lillian was saying earlier as well, that a lot of the core functionalities that we now program is going to be available in the cloud by default. And this is also where AI is going to help us with the whole of software development as a whole, is that we don't need to really read manuals in the future, right? The AI system will automatically guide us through those pieces of things that we need to know only at that time, that we need to use at that time to develop that thing. And it'll probably develop most of it. All we do is customize it, re-engineer it a bit. And even that process, it'll help us because it already knows these things and it's already learned from experience on how to go about. So how a whole engineering process will be a lot more precise, less error prone, okay, and a lot more assisted in a way where each human being, based on their plus and minus, their advantages and disadvantages, will get that amount of help from the AI system. So I hope that kind of answers and covers the ground for most of what you've been asking so far.
Right. You know, there's a follow-up question here from Max. I'm gonna read in a minute, but so I'm just gonna say hello to Mohammed. Mohammed says that he's from Jordan. So hey, Mohammed, good to have you here, man. And so and Mohammed has a couple of questions here too. That's awesome. Now, one thing, you know, since we're talking about worries of artificial intelligence, let me ask you one question, Lillian, about the worries of cloud computing, right? So, you know, since cloud computing started, we saw like a centralization in a few companies, right? And so, and you know, do you think that's just like a few companies kind of controlling the whole? Because that seems to be happening more and more, right? Just a few companies controlling most of our processing power and around the world. You know, is that something that we should be worried about in the future? And you know, having just not a lot of competition around cloud. I know. I've been. That's one thing that for me is very important, because I always think that competition is extremely important. And I was very happy when for example, Oracle came into the cloud world, right? Because it was one more big company to be there. When Google really focused their cloud effort to really grow and compete, right? So now I'm very happy when we see new players coming to Microsoft. When Microsoft joined the cloud revolution, right? It's like, it's like one more big player being part of that. So how do you see this centralization? Is that dangerous for us somehow?
I don't think so, because how can I say it? Uh, I see that we have like kind of three big clouds. I will not name them, but I see that every other company are looking for these big clouds, and they are willing to be this big cloud. So I think the goals for every little company in the whole world is to be one of them. So I don't see it's a problem, because I think in the near future, some of these companies that start small or even are startups, and they can evolve to achieve a level of this big cloud company. So I don't see the problem of a lack of competition, but maybe we will have some blind spots where everybody will go to solve this problem and kind of forget the other one. So maybe we will not have a great solution for a problem, but we will have many for another one. So maybe this would be the next problem.
Okay. Yes. Right. It's like that. What was that saying from? I think it was from Einstein, right? That you can't solve the problem at the same level of thinking that you had when you created the problem to begin with, right? So yeah. So every time we come with a new solution, there comes a new problem, right? And I think there's a question here from Max, right? And it's like a segue when you're talking about Lydia. We're talking about not being able to learn everything. He says, maybe the question should be what I don't need to learn, right? And then he clarifies saying, what technology I don't need to learn right now, right? So I know there's a lot more things that we don't need to learn than things that we need to learn, right? So is there anything that's maybe it's too early or is already past that we shouldn't be focused on right now? What do you think in terms of cloud or software development in general? I mean, we probably don't
Difficult
need to learn.
question.
Yeah, we probably don't need to learn waterfall development anymore, do we?
Yeah, we should not need. But I don't know. I think depends on the area you are in. Don't know. For example, if you are working with software for hospital, so here in Brazil, so things you need to learn in the cloud for developing software for hospital, for example, probably you will need to learn about security, because we are talking about personal data, and personal data shared in the cloud. So I would say this is a must have. So kind of depends on the area you are in. But now thinking about what we shouldn't learn in this case, uh, I don't know. I only can think on the priorities. This is really hard.
But that's a
Uh,
good point, right? So no, it's actually because that's the thing I was thinking here when I read Max's question is that there's nothing that you don't need to learn, Max. Everything that you want is probably useful, right? So it's more like a question was Lydia saying. It was more a question of priorities, right? You have to prioritize the things that are important for you. Anything that's important for you, Max, it's probably look. Let me give an example of a friend of ours, right? Scott. Scott, uh, he isn't a specialist on something that most developers hate, right? He's a specialist on legacy code, right? That's what he loves to do, right? He dreads the idea of starting some code from scratch. He loves looking at bad code that was written by someone else and improving it. So, you probably someone would say, "Oh, I don't want to learn legacy code, right? I just want to do new stuff." And here's Scott, that he's a specialist on that, and he makes lots of money off that, right? So I think is a lot related to what you want to do and prioritize, like Lily was saying.
Yeah, I think between the two of you, you've answered the question fully. In fact, Lillian, in fact, even answered it better by saying, "I really don't know at the moment what you should not learn." Itself shows that there isn't, and you answered this further, that there isn't nothing that you cannot learn, because thing that you think you don't want to learn now, exists in the ecosystem and you need to go and change it. And if you don't know it, and you haven't learned, and you said you didn't want to learn it because you want to learn all the new shiny things, then when you're given a lot of that to change and bring them to the modern world, you can't, right? Because you need to first learn the other that is traditional and old to transform into the new. The other part of it here is, if you go by the approach that learn only what you need to know, then you will not ask the question what I don't need to learn. Because if you're working on a problem solution based methodology, which something you were talking about yesterday, focus on solving the problem, right? So when you focus on solving the problem, you'll never ask the question, what do I not need to do? No, what do I need to do? The simplest way to get to the solution to this problem in the first iteration. What do I now need to do to make this solution slightly better? Second iteration. And you keep learning as the iteration goes. And you stop at certain iteration, right? You just don't go endlessly. So you need to also learn, you need to also learn how to start, to increment yourself, and stop yourself at the right time. So that is also learning. But then whilst doing that, you're improving the solution, and then you've only learned and touched those areas of the technological stack or tech stack or whatever you want to call it that was relevant to solving that problem. But now you've learned a whole lot of stuff you may not use for another problem solving solution. But there's always an overlap somewhere, right? The cross-cutting concerns we'll never know. They'll always keep getting broader, deeper, wider, right? But the cross-cutting concerns are random, and the needs are also going to be, some people will need this combination of technology, some people will need some other combination. But if you know some groups of them in random patches, you know the principle of how to solve problems. And then you don't need to worry about, do I need to learn this, need to learn that? No, you spend 10 minutes with the manual. You say, oh, I've already done this before in C++. And in Java, it doesn't need to be done at all because it's already managed by the virtual machine and by the compiler and by the language itself. I just need to replace it with a few lines of code and we are done. Right? The JVM will take care of it. The compiler will take care of it. IntelliJ will take care of the rest of it. So that's the idea of going about doing things. When we do it that way, we never come across the question, what do I need to learn? What do I not need to learn? It's kind of like a different orthogonal questions to ask. That's my view on it.
Yeah,
in addition to the two things that both of you said.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go a little bit deeper on that because there's a question from Mohammed about learning here. We're going to get to that in a minute. But, we're about halfway through our conversation here. So it's a good time for us to talk a little bit about, TDC, right? So remember that, the Developers Conference is going to happen next week. The Developers Conference, Future Edition, right? So, and I want to invite you. So I'm putting the link right there in the corner, ddevconf.com. So if you go there, you're gonna see this page here because look, what I want to do here is just gonna walk you through because you can join us on TDC for free, right? The basic pass is completely free and it's gonna give you all kinds of awesome content, right? So if you go here to ddevconf.com, you're gonna see all the three events already realized, right? And so the next one is TDC Future, the last one for the year, 3rd of November to 2nd of December. So it's gonna be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. Remember, we're gonna have an awesome presentation on Monday night, right, to start the event, right? So you click here on TDC Future, and then you're gonna get to this page, right? I want to show you this because this page, as you can see, because my browser is configured for English, you're gonna see that everything's localized. But in reality, if you click on this button here, it's gonna take you to a page that's gonna be in Portuguese, right? So what I want to show you here is that, first of all, we're gonna have an awesome pre-show on Monday night, right? Monday night, Mary Anton Popendiak is gonna talk to us about the future of technology. So that's gonna be awesome, right? So don't miss that. But just kind of scroll down a little bit here. You're gonna see here the Connect Pass tracks. Those are all the English tracks, right? So you have 8 tracks fully in English. You keep scrolling down a little bit more, and then what you're gonna see here this orange button, Register Now International. That's where you have to go, right? Come here, Register Now International. Click on that button, and that's gonna take you to the page for registering. The full page is in English, and you can see here the basic pass is completely free, right? So you can come here, you can register for the basic pass, or you can join any of the paid tracks also, right? You're going to see here artificial intelligence track, for example. You can see here where's the cloud track, right? The cloud track, right? You can register for those tracks, or if you want to have, there is the very first here, the Connect Pass International, right? For for how much you would pay for 2 tracks, you can get all tracks at once, right? So it's a good deal. But you can just register for the basic pass for free. Just do that and join us on the amazing event is going to be next week, right? So one more time, the URL is right here in the corner, ddefconf.com. So do this right now and don't forget, right? Because that's going to be an awesome event. Okay, so let me get back here and let's talk a little bit more about learning, right? Because there's a great question here from Mohammed, and Mohammed says, it is normal that it takes a while for me to master a new feature, right? And that is an awesome question. For it's normal that it takes me a while for me to learn cloud, for example, Lillian, or or am I stupid developer if I don't learn cloud immediately?
No, I think depends on the level you put for yourself of understanding, because we can say, I am a specialist and not compared to anything else. So I want to be a cloud specialist like someone. So I think you need to put a level, and if you put this level too high, probably it will take some years to achieve the same level of as the other person, because the other person have his or her time to achieve that level. So I think you should not worry about the time you spent learning. I think you should uh, celebrate everything you learn new, and most of that, I would say that you should celebrate the things that you learn that you could apply on your daily basis. So for me, it's much more it makes me more happier to learn things that I can apply on my job than learn things just for learn, because I know that if I studied this today and I will need this in a couple of years, probably I would need to study it again, because I probably didn't remember anything or just knew the summary of the thing. So I would say that you should view your expectation with yourself and try to do baby steps of learning. And of course you should have a goal to be a master of something in the cloud, but don't charge yourself with this these studies and to be an expert overnight.
Yes, that's awesome. That's an awesome point. And there's one thing that I've heard some time ago that I love is that you should not compare yourself to where someone else is today, right? If I compare myself where Manny is today, right, or if I compare myself where Lillian is today, I'm probably going to be feel terrible, right? But you should compare yourself to how were you yesterday, right? How to yourself yesterday. If I'm better than I was yesterday, you're in the right direction. You're moving forward. Don't try to keep comparing yourself. You don't know their stories. You don't know that. You don't know what they do. Just because you see some people here on the internet saying something, you have no idea of what is reality, right? You don't know how much they actually know. You don't know how much their questions and their doubts, right? We had a great discussion yesterday. We have like a little mastermind group. So we had that discussion yesterday with some friends, and one of them said, oh, you know what, guys, I just want to share with you how bad my life is, how bad my brain is, and I think I'm a terrible person. And so he said some things, right? And then everyone around was like, oh, you have no idea. So let me tell you my side, right? And so, a lot of times we look at other people, we think, oh, Manny is amazing. Lillian is like awesome. And you don't know what they're going through, right? You don't know what problems they have. You don't know what they don't know, right? Maybe they know a little bit of this and you think that they know everything about everything else, but they only know that, right? And so, yeah, don't compare yourself to other people, because that's a terrible way to live.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree with you anymore on that, because it's different context as well, right? We were talking about this yesterday. the context is different when you're talking about different things, and your context of where you are is different from where I am, and is where Lillian is and where everybody else is, right? You can't, it's like apples and pears, right? The texture is different, shape is different, and the way they are grown is different, and they've gone through different processes and evolution, right? So yeah, absolutely right. So I mean, and also coming back to the question Muhammad asked, is it normal to take that it takes a while for him to learn something? Now, I actually shared a couple of links here. One of the things, the way to learn something is deliberate practice. And deliberate practice also brings to the idea of the 10,000 hours rule. Now, that can be a stretch, because depends. Like if you want to learn a feature in a programming language, you don't need to spend 10,000 hours to do that. But you need to do some deliberate practice where you're applying that feature in some problem solving situation, where you then understand how that feature is solving a problem and how it can be used. The more you use that feature in different ways, the more you understand the different facets of that feature. And then all the neighboring features become normal, because that's how our brain works, right? A brain does a lot of deduction and association on the fly, but you need to know how to give it that information. And the way to give that information is to deliberate practice. Through deliberate practice, you build muscle memory. And that happens over a long period of time. Now, long period of time can be hours and hours in a day, or 1 hour of focused practice, or a few hours of focused practice, or lots of small hours of focused practice over long periods of time, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe several months, and maybe years. And that's where the 10,000 hours develop. Like, how does a musician become so good at what they play? Because they practice every day on a continuous trend for a long period of time. And oh, I'm actually much better today than I used to. And we can say the same thing with our field as well, right? I mean, I am much better now what I am doing than I was a couple of years ago doing the same things. And and maybe a decade ago doing what I'm doing, and maybe 2 decades ago when I just started doing what I'm doing, right? So that's because I had 20,000 hours or 30,000 hours or 15,000 hours spent on doing this on a regular basis, almost the same thing, but maybe different things in different ways. And I've learned the ways around how something works, which, it doesn't happen in the initial moment, and maybe not even the first couple of months. And hence you get the feeling, oh, it's taking a long time for me to understand this. But the brain is constantly calculating and deducing and associating. It just needs more deliberate practice.
Yes, yeah, deliberate practice is amazing, right? So that's one thing that you guys really should take a look, right? Because Ali's saying hi everyone. Yes, it's great stuff here. Thank you. So that's great, right? So thanks a lot, Ali. Right, so I'm just gonna put Ali's here comments, right? So yes, thanks a lot, Ali, because I agree, right? So it's awesome things, and deliberate practice is an amazing, important thing for sure, right? Actually, I do have a book and training, right, that teach you deliberate practice, right? So you can do that. But there's another question here from Mohammed, right? But before I talk about Mohammed, we talked about Scott here earlier, and Max saying that Scott's book is awesome, right? So what I want to do really quick here is just kind of show you guys how to get Scott's book for free, right? How about that? That's a good thing, right? So Scott's book is part of what we call the low hanging series. It's a series of books that there are focus on, small things, small actionable things that you can do, right, to have big results, right? So it's a good series. So here's Scott's book right here, the low hanging code smells, right? So really, really good book. But here we also have Eyal's Wiersansky book about machine learning. So that's the question from Mohammed. It's about machine learning. So that's a good book for you to get. We also have Rafael Del Netto's book, and we also have Yugo Sakamoto's book about architecture, and you have my book about low hanging talks. It's going to help you start presenting. So you can get all of those books for free on this URL here. You can the QR code or the URL. You can get all those books for free. Just choose which ones you want, which ones you're interested, and download as many of them as you want, right? So thanks a lot, Max, for pointing out, but I totally agree with you. Scott's book is awesome. All right, so and then Mohammed asked, is Java on the right direction in machine learning and what is DL, data learning? What's DL, man? Machine learning.
Deep learning.
Oh, deep learning. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So is that Java on the right track in machine learning and deep learning? What do you think, Manny?
So I did share a couple of links. I think it was an answer to Muhammad's question. I think it's a few links above. Maybe you've already shared it, but I have collected a whole bunch of libraries and packages under the Java category, and also there's a library called Tribio, which is developed by Oracle Labs, and Tribio is a Java-based machine learning library. And if you're asking the question, is Java in the right direction? Well, Java is a programming language. It's a tool. AI and machine learning are techniques, right? Any tool can be used in such a way that it implements a technique. So people in Oracle Labs are now using Java to develop this library called Tribio, but there are lots of others who have already developed libraries, and you can find them on the links I've shared, and I think they are in the right direction. You would think that Python has made a massive development in that area, which is great. But machine learning requires resources. It requires things to be fast. You need to be able to data and derive information out of it. There will be a point in time when we will hit, and we're already beginning to see that, a bottleneck or hit the ceiling when it comes to performance. And that's where Java shines as a programming language, because the JVM is rock solid when it comes to delivering reliable, robust, high-performant applications. A link to my talks where I've demonstrated how you can quickly compile a Java app which does which trains a very small data set, but of course you can give it a larger data set, and the amount of time it would take to train that data set, and also the performance, and also because there are additional benefits you get from new technologies available in the Java world like GraalVM and Quarkus. All of that is going to boost up not only your build time and training time, but also your runtime performance. And every bit of resource saved at any of these levels is going to add to productivity, right? So, and not just that, accuracy. You see, Java is a strongly typed language, whereas other programming languages, Ruby or Python, they're not strongly typed languages. There are chances of bugs in those languages, and you can't afford to have inaccuracies in a machine learning or a deep learning application. And those are the things that in the long run will matter a lot more than at the moment, because let's say we haven't really reached the pinnacle or at a really important stage where everything is actually I wouldn't say the word control, but affected and influenced by AI. We are big in of our lives and in our software development process, right? But when there will be a time when everything is dependent on AI solutions, performance, accuracy, all of these will be really, really necessary. You can't afford to, you can't get it from languages where it is not built up on the basis of reliability, robustness, resilience, performance, correctness, all those things. And Java is one such programming language that delivers all of that out of the box with 26 plus years of the work that's been going on with it, both from Oracle and the other open source community members. So if that lengthy answer convinces you, then I hope you get my point. But awesome. The links and the demo, which I'm going to share in a second, will already tell you, give you the answer in a pragmatic sense, in a more imperative sense.
That's awesome. Yeah. So one thing I love about Manny, guys, is that Manny has all those links, right? So everything he's sharing here with me, I'm placing to you guys. So take a look at all those links that we're putting there in the chat, right? So and check more about this, right? So Ali says this is so promising, Manny. So that's great, right? And then Max say amazing talk, thank you, right? And then Mohammed says that he's learning Tribu and no Tribu and GGL. Okay, awesome. So you are look, Mohammed. it's not about Java being the right track, right? So it looks like you are on the right track, right? So
Right.
reach out to Manny. You can see Manny's Twitter right there on the screen, right? So reach out to Manny and get this whole thing going. So we just have a few more minutes here, and I want to respect everyone's time here. And so Lilian, if we put our future thinking cap on, right? So, Lilian, what do you think that we should be in terms of software development in the future, right? What kind of things we should be looking for about cloud computing that will change the future of software development? Right? Do you think containers is the thing that's going to change? Do you think that testing in the cloud? What do you think is going to be the big thing that's going to change our lives for software development with cloud computing? Does that in the near future, maybe in the far future? I don't know.
Uh, no, I think maybe we will have more small features available. I don't see it like we'll stop using containers, but maybe we'll stop. I don't know. But I see like the future things more integrated. So more like, how can I say it? Let me think. Uh,
Yeah, why are you thinking? Why are you thinking there? Just ignore me for a minute, because Mohammed just said here, sorry for asking a lot of questions. No, we want you to ask lots of questions, Mohammed, right? So don't worry too much. We want lots of questions. That's exactly what we want. Congratulations for doing this.
Okay, I was thinking like for the future of cloud, something like, I don't know, I like to give an example. So I would say something like the Lambda feature that we have in AWS, for example, something more prone to help us test, or so. I know that we can develop these features now, but I think for the future of the cloud is have this built in. So I would say that we will find this type of features inside, and I think this is the near future.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Lillian is spot on this, because the example I give to some of my developer friends is, like 10 years ago we used to write apps that would stand up a website, host a server, and serve web pages. Right? Today we don't need to do that. There are web services like the S3 bucket itself is has a built-in serve web pages. All you do is load your HTML pages. In fact, not just HTML pages, you can also have REST endpoints work from there. So point is that all those things that we used to code, and which is also what Lillian was trying to share earlier, is all those things that we are actually currently developing will become core features and aspects of the environment we use automatically, right? And so when that happens, then we are not developing those redundant. They're already available. Maybe we just enable them on our cloud system, and using maybe a REST endpoint call or a function call, we have access to it. And our end users has access to it by just enabling that feature in their system, in their web page, or in their profile. And those things don't need to be developed again and anymore. And it's same as it used to be 10 or 15 years ago, where people would spend a lot of money to get a website developed and hosted. Today, we don't need to do that. There are tons and tons of services that already give you that out of the box. Today, the core concern is developing something else. And that's where things are going to go towards the future. And I'll plug this in, is that AI ML, it will be assisting in various aspects and components of all of these developments that will take place. So they will be smart and intelligent solutions that will already know what to do based on past actions, and it'll learn from it, and it'll know that you've used this in this fashion. So next time you want to continuously always check for these things, and things like that. And it'll learn from your behavior, and it'll remember your behavior, and it'll serve you information, update the code behind it automatically without you having to write any more code. Right? Because that's where I think things are going. And we're already starting to see some of those things, like a mobile phones automatically behaving that way. You have desktop applications, your browser starting to that's just the beginning, and it's just going to get more and more sophisticated.
Okay, that's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Okay, so so we have just a couple of more minutes here, and I want you guys to say a nice goodbye for everyone. But before I do that, let me quickly just invite everyone to join us on TDC. Right, I already talked about this, but I think it's really important for us to to have a chance, right? Because look, Lilian and Manny will be at the event next week, right? So they're going to be running. Manny's going to be running the artificial intelligence track. Lilian's going to be running the cloud and DevOps track. So you can have, we are here just for 1 hour, right? But you can have like a whole day or 3 days having discussion with them and really asking more questions and sharing more information and really be part of of this community, right? So if you come here actually, let me put the link again on the screen here. So if you come to ddevconf.com, just put the link on the screen right there. You're gonna see this page here. TDC Future next week is gonna be the last one here. I just realized it doesn't show international edition here like the other one, but yes, this is an international edition. I'm actually gonna ask to fix that. And so you come here to and click there. You're going to get to this page, right? You're going to see there's going to be a great pre-show on Monday, right? So, and you can join this completely for free. And if you scroll down a little bit here, you're going to see all the English tracks, right? On the Connect Pass tracks. All of those are English. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see this orange button here, Rationale International Edition, right? So the international version, you just click here and it's going to get you a page where you can register. The basic pass is completely free, right? So just join us. There's going to be more information about, the basic pass is free. You can register for the premium pass. The premium pass are specific tracks you want to participate, or you can choose the Connect Pass that gives you access to all of the 8 international tracks. Okay, and one interesting thing, we're gonna have a international career mentoring. So we're gonna have career mentoring in English. All right. So with that, we're gonna start ending here our discussion. So let me ask you. Lilian, do you wanna start by actually we start with Lilian. Let's finish with Lilian. How about you, Manny? How about you say like the last message, the last goodbyes?
Yeah, so the future is now. So don't wait for the future, and just keep learning, keep doing, and don't have to follow all the advice that we have shared here today. Just do a few things, but keep doing them consistently, as we talked about deliberate practice, and you will notice that you'll automatically integrate with whatever is to come. So wish you all the best in your learning journey, and also thank you, Bruno and Lilian, for sparing your 1 hour of your day. I think it's in the morning over there, and sharing your knowledge and experience with everybody. And I've learned a lot of things as well. And thank you to the audience as well for asking all these interesting questions, so that we can chip in and share our bit of the experience. Right. So with that, thank you very much.
That's awesome. So and Lilian, just so everyone know, people ask Lilian's Twitter. I put on the chat, but we also put here on her name, right? So yes, follow Lilian on Twitter, follow Manny on Twitter, and you can keep asking more questions. So you want to say goodbye, Lilian?
Sure. I would like to thank you guys for the conversation. It was amazing. I would like to thank everybody that is listening to us. It was a pleasure. It's a pity that I can't see everybody, but I like it, the experience. And I would like to finish my presence here with I think that I learned it from reading the book for XP from Kent Beck, that is, you should do the things you can do with the things you have now. So don't try to extrapolate and require too much of yourself. Just go with the flow, and I think that everything will be okay.
That's awesome. That's an awesome message. Thanks a lot, Lilian. And so thank you, Lilian. Thank you, Manny, for being here with us. And especially thank all of you, right? So Ali says, we appreciate your efforts, right, to share experience. Thank you so much. I just cannot thank you enough, and neither can I thank you enough. A good friend of mine, Ed Shianaga, said the other day, I'm not sure exactly what, he said the source, but I don't remember. He said the other day that the most precious thing you can give someone is your time. And so I love this live things because each one of us here, we're giving our time for you, but you are giving your time for us, right? So that's a great sharing experience. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks again, Lydian and Manning, for being here. And look, we have one more live tomorrow at the same time. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the future of work, right? So what can we do to work better in the future? So thanks, everyone. Awesome to have you here. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.